You are looking at a company that controls the technology protecting astronauts from invisible space bullets. Yet the stock chart looks like a crime scene, where 99% of the value has vanished into thin air. If you pull up the chart for Cemtrex right now, ticker symbol CETX, you're going to see one of the most confusing, high-friction, and potentially explosive narratives in the entire market. On the surface, this looks like a classic penny stock disaster, a company that has burned investors over and over again. But if you look just below that surface, you find something that doesn't fit the narrative of a failure. You find a company that is currently executing a massive pivot into the aerospace and defense sector, buying a firm with deep NASA heritage that literally keeps the International Space Station safe. This creates a massive tension. You have deep fundamental value on one side and severe structural financial risk on the other. And right now, in late 2025, we are standing at a crossroads where this equity is either going to zero or it is going to re-rate by several 100%. To understand why this is such a violent battleground, we have to start with the sheer scale of the destruction that has already happened. Most people look at a stock chart and see a line going down, but with Cemtrex, you have to look at the math of their reverse stock splits to understand what has actually occurred. Between January 2023 and September 2025, this company executed a series of reverse splits that is statistically mind-blowing. If you do the math, multiplying the 1 for 35, the 1 for 60, and the recent 1 for 15 split, you realize that the cumulative split ratio exceeds 1 for 1 million. That means if you held one share today, it represents over 1 million shares from just a few years ago. That is a level of dilution that makes long-term price appreciation mathematically impossible for a buy-and-hold investor. It creates a situation where the share count is perpetually reinflated to facilitate new selling. So, why are we even talking about this? Why hasn't this company just disappeared into the pink sheets or gone bankrupt? Because while the financial engineering has been a nightmare, the underlying business is doing something fascinating. They are trying to pull off a Phoenix Rises strategy. The core of this bullish thesis rests on a pending acquisition that changes the entire identity of the company. They are buying a company called Vicon Inc. Now, Vicon isn't some fly-in-the-night startup. This is a mature systems engineering firm based in Texas with a 40-year history of prime contracts with NASA and the Department of Defense. This is where the story gets seductive. Space is not empty. It is filled with micrometeoroids and orbital debris. In low Earth orbit, these tiny particles travel at 7 or 8 kilometers per second. At that speed, a paint flake hits with the kinetic energy of a bullet. This is the Kessler syndrome nightmare, a cascading chain reaction of debris collisions that could make space travel impossible. Vicon developed the technology to detect these impacts. They created the wireless impact detection system and the micro-miniature triaxial accelerometer unit. These sensors are bonded to the skin of a spacecraft, and when an impact occurs, they analyze the acoustic waves to tell astronauts exactly where they were hit and how hard. This technology flew on 17 space shuttle missions. It is on the International Space Station right now. With the explosion of commercial satellites like Starlink and Cooper, the need for vehicle health monitoring is becoming the industry standard. Cemtrex is acquiring this technology for just over $7 million, which is incredibly cheap. They are buying $1 of high-quality recurring government revenue for maybe 40 or 50 cents. If they close this deal, they transform from a clunky industrial holding company into a specialized aerospace contractor. Defense stocks usually trade at 2 to 4 times sales. Cemtrex is trading at a fraction of that. If the market wakes up and decides to value them as a defense stock, the re-rating would be violent. But here is where I have to stop you and introduce the chaos twist in this story. You might be asking, if the tech is so good, why is the stock so bad? Why does the price seem to collapse every time they release good news? There is a mechanism hidden in their SEC filings that I call the dilution engine, and it is absolutely critical that you understand it before you even think about touching the buy button. It comes down to how they raise money. The company has a history of using what we call toxic financing. Specifically, we need to talk about the Series A and Series B warrants. These aren't normal warrants. They contain a provision called alternative cashless exercise. This is a poison pill for common shareholders. It effectively allows the warrant holders, often hedge funds that specialize in distressed companies, to trade in their warrants for shares, but with a multiplier. In one filing, the multiplier was 3 times the number of warrants. This creates a massive incentive for these funds to exercise their warrants and dump the resulting shares onto the market immediately. It decouples their profit from the company's success. They win even if the stock creates no value, as long as there is liquidity to sell that tripled share count. So This creates a float trap. You see a press release about the NASA acquisition and you think, wow, this is huge. You and 1,000 other retail traders buy the stock, driving the volume up, but that volume just alerts the algorithms. The company has an at-the-market or ATM offering program, which allows them to sell new shares directly into the trading session. So when you buy on good news, you are often buying shares that were printed that morning by the company to pay their bills. The rally is literally being sold by the company itself. This explains the gap and trap pattern we see on the chart. The stock gaps up in the pre-market on news, lures in buyers, and then spends the rest of the day grinding lower as that new supply hits the bid. And it gets more complicated when you look at who's running the show. Cemtrex is effectively a family-controlled entity. The CEO, Sagar Govil, controls the company through Series C preferred stock, which carries super voting rights. He controls over 70% of the voting power, despite owning a minority of the economic interest. This means common shareholders, that's you and me, have virtually no influence on the board. We can't block dilutive issuances. We can't force a sale. We are just along for the ride. There is also reputational baggage here that keeps the big institutional money away. The executive director and father of the CEO, Aaron Govil, settled charges with the SEC in 2021 regarding the misappropriation of investor funds. While that settlement resolved the legal matter, the stain remains. Most compliance departments at major funds will automatically blacklist a company with that kind of history. That leaves the stock in the hands of retail traders and high-risk algorithmic funds like Savvy Management, who are known for these structured financing deals that often result in death spirals. However, we can't just dismiss the operational turnaround entirely because the numbers in 2025 actually started to look better. For the first 9 months of fiscal 2025, revenue surged 19% to $58 million. More importantly, they swung from a deepening loss to an operating profit of nearly $1.7 million. That is a massive shift. It suggests that their cost-cutting measures are working. A big part of this revenue engine is their legacy security business, Vicon Industries. Vicon is fighting a brutal war on the ground against cloud-native disruptors like Verkada. If you know the security space, you know Verkada is the Silicon Valley darling. Slick, easy to use, but very expensive with mandatory annual fees. Vicon is the old guard. Their systems are open architecture, meaning you buy it once and you own it. This is a huge advantage for budget-conscious clients like prisons and public schools. In fact, Vicon recently secured a $10 million order for a state correctional facility. Prisons are air-gapped environments. They can't rely on the public internet, which Verkada needs. They need massive on-premise storage. This proves that there is still a moat for Vicon's rugged industrial style of security. So you have this tug of war. On one side, you have a legitimate business that is growing revenue, expanding margins, and buying space-age technology. On the other side, you have a capital structure designed to extract value from shareholders and a governance profile that scares away the smart money. This brings us to the invisible loop I mentioned earlier regarding the warrants. Remember how I said the warrant holders can exercise cashless? There's another feature called a ratchet, or a floor price reset. If the company sells stock at a lower price to raise cash, the exercise price of the warrants automatically resets downward to match that low price. This creates a feedback loop. The company sells cheap stock, the price drops, the warrant price resets, the warrant holders sell more to cover, and the price drops again. This is the mechanism of the death spiral. It explains why the stock is trading at a fraction of its sales. The market is pricing this equity as an option on bankruptcy. The verdict here is not simple. This is not an investment for a retirement account. This is an asymmetric, event-driven speculation. The market is pricing Cemtrex for failure. They are trading at something like 0.04 times sales. That is virtually nothing. It implies the equity is worthless. But if they successfully close the Vicon deal in January 2026, and if they can refinance their debt, the stock would have to re-rate. You don't trade a profitable defense contractor at 0 times sales. If the bull case plays out, what I call the Phoenix rises scenario, Vicon closes seamlessly, Vicon wins another massive prison contract, and they refinance their debt. In that world, the stock could go from $3 to $10 or $15 very quickly. We're talking about potential returns of several 100%, simply because the starting valuation is so depressed. But the bear case is equally likely. This is the death spiral scenario. The Vicon deal could fall through, or be financed by even more toxic debt. The NASDAQ delisting threat could return, forcing yet another reverse split. If that happens, the equity value could evaporate entirely. You have to remember, the Series 1 preferred stock acts as a poison pill in a liquidation scenario. There's about $27 million in liquidation preference sitting above the common stock. That means if the company is sold for parts, the preferred shareholders get paid $27 million before you get a single penny. Given that the enterprise value is arguably close to that debt load, the common equity is trading purely as option value on future growth. So how do you actually play something this volatile? You have to treat it like a binary event. The close of the Vicon acquisition is the catalyst. You need to watch the support level at $2.50. If it breaks below that on high volume, the trapdoor opens and we are going to $2 or lower. But if it holds, and if that deal closes, the short sellers, who are likely just warrant holders hedging their positions, might step back. You also have to look at the volume. The on-balance volume indicator has been showing a divergence. While the price is making new lows, the volume isn't collapsing to the same degree. This hints that there is some accumulation happening. Someone is betting on the turnaround. Someone thinks the parts are worth more than the whole. This is a stock where the business is real, but the stock itself is a product being sold. The company is funding its existence by printing shares. That stops only when the business generates enough free cash flow to self-fund. The swing to a $1.7 million operating profit is the first sign that this might be possible. But until they prove they can stop the dilution, the ceiling is made of concrete. The reality is, Cemtrex is uninvestable for 99% of people. But for the 1% who understand volatility arbitrage, it is a fascinating setup. You have a company valued at bankruptcy levels that is about to own technology critical to the future of the space economy. It is a paradox. It is a value trap and a deep value play at the same time. In the end, you have to ask yourself if you believe in the Govil discount or the NASA premium. If you buy this, you aren't buying a stock. You are buying a lottery ticket stamped with a NASA logo. It might be worthless, or it might be the ride of the lifetime, but you better be ready for the rocket to explode on the launch pad.